I'm going to show you how to carve this shirt. I've done it a couple of times and it's certainly one of my favourite carvings to do. It's a man's shirt and so it's quite a big undertaking, quite a hefty piece of wood you start with. You could carve a woman's shirt or a smaller person's shirt and give yourself a lot less effort. It's called a trompe d'oeil in the art world. In other words, it's tricking the eye. It's trying to be something it isn't. It looks as if it's hanging from this nail on the wall, but in fact this is entirely loose. It's not hanging from here at all. And actually it's quite heavy. One of the great things about this project is that it contains pretty much everything about carving. It contains the model, making the working drawing, gluing up the wood, bossing in, getting the shapes, back cutting, undercutting, surfaces, lines, junctions, all sorts of stuff that's really important to know about carving and the carving process. So I hope you have a go. It's a great project, bit of a showstopper, very good conversation piece when it's on the wall, and I hope you enjoy it. So here's my model. Simple white shirt, off-white shirt will do. No pattern because we're really interested in the sculptural form in a way, the lights and shadows. I've offset the shirt a little bit on the hanger as if somebody's just thrown it on the hanger, and that makes more interesting carving. You can see that the shirt line is now at an angle, the button line rather, and you get some interesting folds going on. I've been able to pin this sleeve down here with a staple. I'm not going to carve through here, so we need to arrange this and make sure that's exactly how you like it. Don't forget also that the hanger is something that we're going to carve as well. So choose your hanger and leave that in there obviously throughout the carving. And now to make this model really useful, I'm going to stiffen it, effectively lose my shirt. I'm going to use wood glue, diluted wood glue. I'm using a spray diffuser, the sort of thing you use for plants. 3 parts water, 1 part PVA wood glue, mixed together well. And then essentially, I'm just going to soak the shirt in it. I'm going to make sure I go all over it. And this will soak into the fabric. And then as it soaks, you want to sort of make sure everything's arranged. The wet shirt tends to be different from a dry shirt, so we've got to take that into account. But all over, front and back, let that soak in. It's a bit messy, so you do need to cover behind on the floor. See now, for example, the pocket here, we want to make sure that's out a little bit so that it dries with a little space behind. So you might need to do this a couple of times to make it really stiff, but it's such a good thing to have this model. It's really worth doing. I hope you can see that it's now quite wet, this shirt. When it's thoroughly wet all over, you can leave it to dry. Make sure that it's still arranged how you want it. I've used probably a good half a pint, a couple of cups of this glue. And if when you find that when it's dry, it hasn't gone stiff enough, then by all means repeat it or even brush some PVA on it. It should be a very stiff, very solid model that we're going to use throughout the carving. It's a day later and here's my shirt. I think you can hear that it's quite stiff. I didn't have to put a second coat on, so that worked well. This is going to be our model and this is going to sit next to us when we're carving. And the idea is that this shirt hangs on a wall. And if you have a look at the back here, you see I've added some bits of cardboard, just glued on, double-sided tape, stapled, whatever, because there's a tendency for this shirt to fall backwards. We really need these sleeves to come forward like this. So I've stiffened the shirt at the back there, and now I'm quite happy with my model as it is. So the next stage is to make a working drawing of the outline from which we're going to glue up our wood. So I've laid the shirt on a nice big piece of paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around the outline like so with a pencil, keeping the pencil vertical as I come to parts like that are actually undercut, and so. And I'll follow that up with a Sharpie, make it a bit stronger. So I'll get the outline, and then for the internal markings I'm going to use a point. This is just a sharp dividers, but some sort of needle point, and I'm going to prick through like so down the lines that are important, especially this line here and the shirt collar and the pocket and this sleeve here and this sleeve here, these joins there. And then with those marks in the paper below, I'll join them up, and that gives me a good working drawing. I'll also include the hanger, of course, to prick through there. And importantly, I'm going to make a note of where this hook comes out. We're going to add that later. So the hook comes out just on this bend here. I don't think the camera can see these dots, but what I'm doing is I'm joining them up quite carefully with reference to my shirt, and if I'm not sure exactly on the size, and I'll certainly take a measurement from my shirt, like the collar here for example, and check it against my drawing. This drawing is going to be quite useful as we go along, although a lot of the wood is going to be taken away. We will have this drawing to work with as we go forward. So here's the collar, turning round, there's the inside, and it goes across here like so. Again, I know you can't see the dots, but they're all along here, along the edge of the buttons, the button strip. And these are in a straight line, and in fact I can run a ruler right down there, almost exactly. So there's the line of the buttons. And then on this side here. So that's very good to... Of course, this isn't necessarily going to be as exact as this. I mean, a shirt is a shirt, so we will be a little bit flexible, but this gets us going in the right direction. Here's my working drawing. Here's my model. And the two of them are going to be a constant companion as I work through the carving. Let's talk a little bit about the joining up. A shirt this big, this wide, and it's some 30 inches, 76 centimeters wide, is going to have to be joined up. And the important thing is to hide these joins or make them innocuous. So just looking here, a good place to put a join would be on this crease here, or perhaps here behind the shirt line, and here. So these are places that the join will not be visible, and I've got them sort of marked here as well. So don't just put a join dunk, 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 wherever. Try and put the join where it'll be least noticeable. And we do want to make sure that the join, the colouring and everything is quite sympathetic as it goes across. We don't really want to see the joins, even though it's wood. So with that, I'm going to start sorting out my wood and get on doing, gluing it up.